You wake up to an alarm, commute to a job that demands 40 to 50 hours of your week, and return to an isolated apartment to numb the exhaustion of the day. If you have a newborn, you're likely sitting awake at 3 in the morning, completely alone, trying to soothe a crying infant in the dark. Modern society treats this persistent exhaustion as a personal failure of resilience or time management. This burnout is a biological mismatch. Your brain evolved to survive in an environment that existed for 300,000 years, a reality that has since been replaced by the structures of modern civilization. Archaeological and anthropological data suggest that our current struggles are the result of an ancient operating system functioning inside an unnatural environment. A modern human will spend roughly 90,000 hours of their life working. However, data from societies like the Hadza and the Juhawantsi show that for most of our history, humans only worked about 15 hours a week. By our standards, your ancestors hit their weekly work quota by Tuesday afternoon. Early humans invested this surplus of time into their social bonds and their minds. We see the evidence in caves 30,000 years old, where artists rendered lions with sophisticated perspective and shading. This level of detail required hours of focus and safety, far removed from a state of constant survival panic. Skeletal records show that early agricultural farmers were shorter, had more nutritional deficiencies, and suffered more joint damage than the hunter-gatherers who preceded them. Agriculture was, in many ways, a massive progress trap. Domesticating plants allowed us to feed more people, but larger populations required even more labor, locking humanity into a cycle of endless, repetitive work. The modern corporate schedule is the downstream result of an agricultural trap we fell into 10,000 years ago. This mismatch also dictates how we raise our families. To support our large, complex brains, human infants are born in an exceptionally helpless state. A newborn horse can walk within hours, but a human baby cannot even support its own head for months. Our species survived through cooperative breeding. In foraging groups, a baby is held by up to 15 different people in a single day. Survival required a network of aunts, neighbors, and siblings to share the physical burden of care. Your child's instincts still expect this constant connection. When you pick up a crying infant and their heart rate immediately drops, you are witnessing the transport response, an ancient predator evasion reflex that keeps a baby silent and safe while being carried. This shared labor was anchored by grandmothers. The grandmother hypothesis suggests that postmenopausal women provided the essential surplus of food that allowed human populations to successfully multiply. The crushing loneliness of modern parenting is the result of attempting to do alone what biologically requires a village. We often imagine prehistoric life as a brutal survival of the fittest, where the weak were simply abandoned. The archaeological record says otherwise. Researchers found a 46,000-year-old skeleton of a man who survived for years despite a withered arm and blindness in one eye. He could not hunt or gather, yet his community actively protected and fed him well into adulthood. Ancient cultures also integrated mental divergence. Rather than pathologizing states like schizophrenia, they often viewed individuals who heard voices as shamans or spiritual mediums, providing a social framework that kept them connected to the group. This impulse to care for the vulnerable is our oldest documented instinct, predating writing, religion, and the very concept of civilization. If the foraging lifestyle was so successful, we have to ask why we ever abandoned it. The answer may lie in a 10-million-year-old genetic mutation. Our ancestors evolved a specific enzyme, ADH4, that allowed them to seek out and digest fermented, calorie-dense fruit on the forest floor. This biological drive led nomadic humans to begin brewing beer thousands of years before they ever learned to farm for food. At Göbekli Tepe, nomadic groups organized the labor to move stone pillars weighing 10 tons. Nearby, researchers found massive stone vats containing chemical traces of fermented grain. These sites were not homes. They were gathering places built specifically for ritual drinking. This chart shows a shift in our understanding of human development. The standard model assumed humans farmed, invented bread, and discovered beer much later. New evidence suggests a different sequence. The desire for beer drove the invention of farming and civilization. Humanity traded its biological equilibrium for civilization largely to get drunk together, turning an ancient survival mechanism into modern infrastructure. We gained genuine, life-saving benefits by trading away our hunter-gatherer lifestyle. Modern medicine, vaccines, and lower mortality rates are real victories that have fundamentally extended our lives. But those wins carry an invisible cost. We have inherited a reality that forces our prehistoric nervous systems into a state of constant friction with the modern world. If you feel overwhelmed, let go of the personal guilt. Anxiety, exhaustion, and loneliness are the rational responses of a prehistoric brain navigating an industrial cage. The peace, community, and leisure we grind our entire lives to afford in retirement are not luxury rewards we must earn. For 300,000 years, they were the baseline of being human.